What if one quiet moment, just a single magazine cover, could freeze an entire country's attention, empty bookstores overnight, and remind millions why some stars don't fade, they deepen? Because this isn't just about a cover. This is about Jin. The instant the January 2026 issue of Spur went on sale, something extraordinary happened. Not gradually, not over days. Almost immediately, the magazine surged to #1 on Amazon Japan's bestseller list. Physical copies vanished just as fast, selling out at major bookstores like Kyobo. In a market where print media fights hard to survive, this wasn't normal demand. It was devotion. And yet, Jin didn't shout for attention. He didn't need to. His presence did the work. Spur understood the weight of this moment from the very beginning. The second Jin was announced as their cover model, the magazine did something rarely seen. Every single official social media header across platforms was changed to Jin. It wasn't promotion. It was celebration. As if the entire editorial voice stepped aside and said, "This is the moment we've been waiting for." They called him a 21st century pop icon. They embraced the name the world already knows him by, Worldwide Handsome. And then they revealed something even more meaningful. This debut didn't happen overnight. The Spur editorial team had been requesting Jin for years. Years. Until finally, the timing aligned. And when it did, they didn't limit him to one cover. They created 2 versions, a regular edition and a special edition, because in their words, Jin's beauty and presence simply couldn't be contained in one image. Across Japan, bookstores placed Jin's Spur posters right at the front. Not hidden on shelves, not tucked into corners, right where every passerby would stop, and many did. Even people who didn't come to buy a magazine found themselves pausing, looking, lingering, feeling something they couldn't quite explain. But the most powerful part of this story wasn't visual, it was emotional. Inside the interview, Jin spoke about his first year as the first global ambassador for the French high jewelry brand Fred, a role that represents refinement, symbolism, and quiet strength. And yet, when asked about his experience, Jin didn't focus on prestige. He focused on people. He shared the real reason behind a moment fans had noticed months earlier, when he gifted RM a Fred Force 10 Rise ring for his birthday last September. At the time, it made headlines. It sparked admiration. But the meaning behind it remained unspoken. Until now. Jin explained that he wanted to express his gratitude to RM for his unwavering dedication, for carrying responsibility, for standing steady no matter how heavy the weight became. He didn't want it to be flashy, he wanted it to be sincere. So he chose something meaningful, something beautiful, something that would last. And in a detail that feels almost painfully Jin-like, he admitted something quietly human. He didn't even ask for RM's ring size. The ring ended up being a little small. But RM loved it anyway. That detail lingered longer than any luxury brand name ever could. Because it wasn't about perfection. It was about intention, about respect. About a bond that doesn't require words to be understood. That's the Jin people feel connected to. And while magazines were selling out and interviews were touching hearts across borders, Jin was also closing another monumental chapter, his first solo fan concert and solo world tour, the Run Sokjin Tour. This wasn't just a tour, it was a statement, critically praised, record-breaking, emotionally charged. From city to city, Jin didn't just perform, he communicated. Every stage felt personal. Every encore felt like gratitude in motion. And when the tour concluded with its final encore, it didn't feel like an ending. It felt like reassurance. Because in Spur, Jin didn't talk about slowing down. He talked about what comes next, about growth, about continuing together. And that's why this moment matters. A bestseller ranking isn't just a number. A magazine cover isn't just an image. A ring isn't just jewelry. Together, they reveal someone who leads without force. Someone who shines without overshadowing others. Someone whose global influence feels gentle, but undeniable. Jin doesn't demand attention. He earns trust. And maybe that's why, even when he says nothing at all, the world still stops to listen.